Tokenization is the hottest trend in fintech for 2025. Major banks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are rolling out blockchain-based platforms, and the total value of tokenized assets globally is estimated at $300 billion if you include stablecoins. Today, we're diving into the future of banking and digital assets with Landau, a Swiss fintech expert with a front row seat to these changes. What do you think of tokenized assets?
If you cannot offer digitalized asset, you might have a problem, and then people will go abroad onto other countries where probably also the regulations are a little bit less strict than in Switzerland.
Lucas just highlighted how banks that don't embrace digital assets risk losing clients to more progressive jurisdictions. This is a real concern. Swiss banks, renowned for their stability, are now facing competition from countries with more flexible regulations. The pressure is on for traditional banks to innovate or risk being left behind. I think many see tokenization of real-world assets as a game changer. We had Larry Fink, CEO at BlackRock, write this latest investor letter that every stock, every bond, every fund, every asset can be tokenized. Do you think so as well?
Technically spoken, yes, it's true. Let's be honest, the concept of fractionalized ownership, it's not new. It's probably the technical approach is new, but it's not a new thing. If you think on shares, that's the same concept, but with a different operation. So yes, I believe it's possible, but the question is, would it be worth as a bank to be one of the early movers? Yes or no? I don't know. I think to prepare yourself and to make yourself ready as a financial intermediary is really important.
Lucas brings up a great point. While the technology for tokenizing any asset exists, the real question is whether it's worth it for banks to be early adopters. But as Lucas notes, fractional ownership isn't new. What's new is the scale and accessibility blockchain brings. For banks, being prepared is more important than being first.
Yes or no? I don't know. I think to prepare yourself and to make yourself ready as a financial intermediary is really important. But in Switzerland, there are still some regulatory hurdles. So if you see the situation in Switzerland, there is none of the banks that held the digital assets on their balance sheet. And finally, what we believe is to hold all the assets, not only the classical asset, but also the real world assets on a balance sheet. This would be really interesting for investors, for family offices, and for wealthy people, because they then could use the whole value chain to go further and to invest further. And this is not actually possible. And I think that's really an important move that also Swiss financial intermediaries should go on, and probably not the first stage movers, but prepare themselves to at least be ready for the second stage.
Swiss banks face a unique challenge. Strict regulations mean they can't yet hold digital assets on their balance sheets, limiting what they can offer to clients. This regulatory gap is a major sticking point, especially when global competitors are already moving ahead. For family offices and high net worth individuals, this is a missed opportunity and a call for Swiss intermediaries to get ready for the next wave.
We have some companies in Switzerland who already perform a lot of tokenization, but as the regulators worldwide are not ready yet, so the investors or the owners, they would not know if the chose solution, not only technical, but also with the financial construct behind, is really regulatory-wise sustainable or not. Or if this comes then on the blacklist of the FATF and say, yeah, this is only for money laundering, because they mostly use also companies abroad in the Caymans or somewhere, so this cannot really be sustainable.
Lucas touches on the biggest roadblock: regulatory uncertainty. Even as Swiss companies experiment with tokenization, global standards are still evolving. We have highlighted this in our State of Blockchain report, which you can read at espeo.eu/blockchain report. There's a real risk that some solutions could be blacklisted or deemed unsuitable by international bodies like FATF, especially if they rely on offshore structures. Sustainability and compliance are key for long-term success.
I think there are solutions, and probably not every non-bankable or real-world asset is really meant to be fractionalized in the sense of ownership. If you give your partner a birthday gift, just a token of a Louis Vuitton bag, she will not be happy at all. She will say, yeah, that's nice, but that's useless. If you give me a share of Louis Vuitton, Moe NSE, okay, that's a different ballgame. But just to have a fractionalized part of a Louis Vuitton bag, how would that make sense? So I think the main idea is good, but we need some real use cases, and therefore we need also the help of the whole ecosystem to bring these use cases to the ground.
It's easy to get swept up in the hype, but as Lucas jokes, not every asset should be tokenized. Imagine gifting your partner a token of a designer bag. Probably not a hit. The point is, tokenization needs real, practical use cases. Without them, it risks becoming a gimmick rather than a game changer.
Yeah, and also the cross-border problems will also apply, because one of the ideas is also to make these fractionalized parts accessible all over the world, because you want to reach a bigger number of investors. So, okay, you own a part, I own a part. What if I get bankrupt? Debt collectors come and they take over that part. There are many, or what if I die and my kids will try to divide that part into 4 parts? So there are many questions in the real life that are not answered yet, that we really need to play and go through with real use cases. And once when this takes over and also the younger generation say, hey, that's cool, that is really what we want to have, and then it's hip also to jump into these kind of ownership, I think then we can adapt it, and then it will also be a business case for the banks, the established banks.
Cross-border tokenization sounds promising, but the legal complexities are massive. What happens if a fractional owner goes bankrupt, or if inheritance laws come into play? There's still a lot to figure out, especially if tokenized assets are to become truly global and accessible. To address these nuances, the OECD has established a new crypto asset reporting framework, which will mandate the transparent reporting of crypto asset transactions to tax authorities in more than 60 countries. At Espeo Software, we built a tool that makes CARF compliance simple for banks. You simply connect your data, it applies the latest rules, flags issues early, and produces audit-ready files. This way, you not only cut manual work, but also keep sensitive data inside your environment. To learn more, go to espeo.eu/carf and sign up for a demo today. Listen to Agnieszka explaining this in more detail.
That's something that our CARF tool in the core version can do. Let's also mention that we also provide services for that to make sure that the schema will be updated and that the company will have someone who will take care in case of some questions regarding how it works, because it's really quite simple tool, but still you need to implement it. And of course, we take care of that.
Lucas's story about his daughter investing is a perfect example of generational change.
Just can give you the example of my eldest daughter, 19 years old. She sent me time to time some link to say, Dad, it's worth to invest here, to invest there. And she don't have a lot of money, but I like the mindset. She's already thinking in a long-term way. And I think the new generation, they know way more about financial products, and they are more interested because there was many club deals, and if you didn't have $1 million on your account, you couldn't access these and those products. So I think I really like the approach that the access to assets is more democratized. And if they don't have a lot of money, they want to invest anyhow.
Gen Z is more financially savvy and open to digital assets than any previous generation. Recent data shows over a third of young investors have more than half their portfolios in crypto. Tokenization is democratizing access to investments that were once reserved for the ultra-wealthy. What do you think about private jets? Because this business model exists for years now, and this is a very expensive asset that's probably cost-shared in most cases, or in many cases, and you don't need to keep that in your garage. You don't need to use that every day. You probably need it like few times a month. So there are several people who can actually own it, use it, and Wouldn't that be a real case?
Yes, it would be a real case, but that's funny that you mentioned that because I recently saw or checked a channel at Instagram where they push empty flights with private jets to say you can have for 10% of the price, we will go from London to Paris at this and this date, and you can buy a ticket because we have to fly there anyways. So I think there are new business models evolving.
Private jet tokenization is a use case that makes sense. High-value assets shared among multiple owners with blockchain streamlining the process. Platforms like JetFinder are already making this a reality, showing that the best tokenization projects solve actual problems rather than just chasing trends. But where is the money? I feel like this question is not being asked often enough.
What do you think is the base color of a zebra? Is it black or white? The base color of a zebra is black, and the white stripe comes from deficit of melanin. If you look on the hooves, they are black, so the main color of zebra is black. So what I want to say, whenever I come up with that question, people think it's a question of belief if a zebra is black with white stripes or white with black stripes. But the truth is, it isn't, and it's the same with fintech. Fintech has two parts: is fin for finance and tech for technology. And one we have, I would say, in abstract, two problems. Most of the companies in Switzerland or also in Europe, what I observe also worldwide, they have technical solutions for some problems in the financial world. What is quite nice, but the money you get with the fin part of the fintech.
Lucas's zebra analogy is spot on. Fintech is about more than just flashy tech. The real value comes from solving financial problems with technology as the enabler. In the end, it's the fin part that drives revenue, while the tech part makes new solutions possible. But there is a risk. Too much regulation can stifle innovation.
I think the Swiss fintech license will be redefined because with too much regulation, you kill also the innovation. And it should be easier to go fast to the market. And also, if you just come up with a technical solution, it's not sufficient. If you just come up with a business idea and you have no idea how you can do the operational complexity, you will never get there. So I think it's important to create bigger ecosystem where every partner, and we see ourselves also as a partner in that ecosystem.
Swiss fintech licenses are being redefined, but according to Lucas, this change is too slow. The most successful ecosystems are those where partners like Espeo software work together to balance compliance and creativity.
Well, I was 2 years ago at the Swiss banking conference where the chairman of the board of Julius Baer said, yeah, you know, crypto, this will not come. Sorry, my friend, 74 years old, I really accept all your experience you have, but you missed the point here. So the question is not if cryptocurrency or digital asset will come, it's just when and where and how much. So if you miss the train today because you're from another generation, probably your bank is dead in 1 or 2 years. It will come quick and massive, and the new generation of bank clients will push towards these services. So yes, there is a lot of things to do, but the pressure is not high because the actual banks and financial intermediaries, they still earn enough money.
Lucas's story about the Swiss banking conference is a wake-up call. The future of banking isn't a matter of if, but when. Younger generations are driving demand for digital assets, and banks that don't adapt risk fading into irrelevance. Tokenization is coming fast, and the winners will be those who prepare, innovate, and embrace change. If you would like to learn more, make sure to watch our other videos on tokenization. For more information about our crypto asset reporting tool, go to espeo.eu/CARF. That's it. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember to stay on the block to stay ahead.